even though Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman are out the door, we want to take a look at and see what their options are going forward, because I do think that both of them are still going to get jobs in the National Football League at some point. Maybe not right away, but they certainly will be in demand at some point, and they still got some skill. It just wasn't working out here in Minnesota. So we'll start with Rick Spielman. What is he going to do? First option, take a year off. Now, I think that Rick has younger kids who are still in school, so it would make sense, since this has been their home. I mean, he's been here for 16 years, to keep his family in place, make sure that his kids finish out school, etc. So, I mean, taking a year off might not be the worst thing ever. And Rick, he poured his heart and soul and put everything into the job, and that has to take a bit of a toll, a little bit of stress on the body. So, just for mental health and whatnot, just take a year off. Taking time to smell the roses, I think that would be good. Or hell, just stay around the Twin Cities, do a couple of corporate events. I mean, the Twin Cities is home to a bunch of Fortune 500 companies. Just do the speaking tour, pull a Lou Nanny, and just do a bunch of radio hits. Open up a sports bar called Pretty Rick's. We have no intention of having hot wings at this time. Go ahead. Go ahead. I think it will be a good time. Next up, Bears GM. We've put this one on the table because, what he should do, take the Bears GM job, buy the McAllister family house from Home Alone, and just be a friggin' boss. Go ahead. But, I mean, it's a 45-minute commercial flight ride. It's a 30-minute private jet ride to Chicago. So, go ahead. And Rick was involved in the organization. I think he's director of pro personnel from 97 to 99. So he between the Lions and the Bears, that's where he got to start in the league in the scouting department. So go ahead, take the Bears GM job and just stick it to the Vikings. Ain't gonna happen, but it would be nice to see. We put it on the table. It's gonna be Spielman and Leslie Frazier, GM and head coach of the Bears respectively. Go ahead. Next up, Giants GM. So you do have Gettleman retiring. Giants, I don't know if that would be a good job, because the Giants, we've said this since they won the Super Bowl in 2011. The Giants have been the worst team in the league. No cap, absolutely none. So I don't know. And he's been saddled with some bad contracts. The Babytron contract from Gettleman is a bad one. They do have an extra first-round pick because of the Bears. So maybe. Plus, you inherit Joe Judge, so you can throw him under the bus. You can hire your own head coach next year. Daniel Jones is whatever. So, maybe there. Next up, for Pretty Rick Spielman, Lions consultant. So, like I said, Rick got his start scouting for the Lions. Of course, his brother Chris is involved in the organization. So maybe they can finagle some sort of consulting job with the Lions. Maybe it's not even on site. Maybe Rick can just sit at his house, and every now and then Brad Holmes, the Lions GM, or Chris can just call up, "What up?" Go ahead. That does make some sense. Next up, for Pretty Rick Spielman, Broncos consultant. So, you know how Jumpin' George Payton, has been Rick Spielman's right-hand man for years. They got together in Chicago. Payton followed him to Miami, and then he came up here to Minnesota. How about how the turntables have... So, George Payton, Kelly Klein in Denver. Maybe Rick Spielman coming on in. He likes skiing. Go ahead. He can go. He can live up in Estes Park, in one of those great cabins down there, and just come down every day on a golden chariot to consult. George, you should do this. Hey, John Elway, you should do this. Screw you. That is all. And then lastly, ESPN NFL Network. So after Rick was fired, you're fired as GM of the Dolphins, he was on ESPN, I believe, for a year or so before hopping on with the Vikings. And he was good, because Rick Spielman, we've said Rick Spielman is basically a politician. Like, he can talk for an hour and say absolutely nothing, but he is good at talking, and he does make it sound like he's saying some things. Now, on a network, not with a team off the leash, I think that he obviously has some great insight on the process of talent evaluation, talent acquisition, as well as the inner workings of the league. So I think that he would be an asset. Rick Spielman on draft coverage, phenomenal. What they should do, beyond the draft telecast, they should do a Manning cast style thing for the draft, where it's just Rick Spielman and a couple other scouts and GMs just dipping and just like talking about picks, talking ish. It's like, they screwed up again. Ow. I love it, man. Mike Zimmer So Zimmer's going to have some options. Like, even though things didn't work out here with the Vikings and his defense was foobarred at the end, he still is regarded as one of the best defensive minds in the league. But Zimmer taking a year off, taking a year to smell the roses, going down to Zimmer Ranch and just chilling. Because Mike Zimmer is a football lifer. I don't think that he's ever going to retire, but you're just taking un year and enjoying the company. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Then next, Zimmer's not going to stop working. So Cowboys DC, this one makes a ton of sense. Jerry Jones loves him some Mike Zimmer. Plus Dan Quinn, the current Cowboys DC, is probably going to get a head coaching job somewhere. He's already got interviews lined up with the Jaguars and the Bears and the Broncos. So him coming into Dallas, I mean, they got a ton of talent down there in Dallas, man. They got Trevon Diggs. They got Micah Parsons. They got Randy Gregory, who's currently not suspended. Well, not suspended as of right now. They got DeMarcus Lawrence coming back. They got Odigizua from UCLA. They got talent, man. They got the leftovers of Van Der Esch. So, yeah, I mean, if I'm Zimmer, I mean, you're looking at Dallas, you're like, yeah. But J-Ron is also in Dallas, so that could be kind of awkward. Although I think he signed a one-year contract, so that's whatever. Next up, Colts DC. Oh, reunited with Xavier Rhodes, and it feels so good. So Matt Eberflus is probably going to get a head coaching job this time around. It's possible. So that they could have opening there. Frank Reich and Indianapolis could make a lot of sense. Then Jaguars. Now, I do not think that Mike Zimmer gets another head coaching job again, but I mean, it could happen. And the Jaguars could be interesting because you got Trevor Lawrence. You do have Josh Allen, the other one. And you have the number 1 overall pick again. And you're probably going to take Aiden Hutchinson or Thibodeau or something. So you could have 2 top-tier edge rushers. You could have a potential future franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. You got a handful of weapons there. Shad Khan has shown that he's a pretty good owner. Relatively hands-off. Yeah. Qualified. Trent Baalke is a garbage GM, but what can you do there? But maybe. Or if Jaguars go a different direction as head coach, you can also add in DC there. Next up, options for Mike Zimmer. Jackson State. Deion Sanders running things down Jackson State. They got the number 1 recruit to go to Jackson State, alma mater of Walter Payton. Sweetness, baby. They're back on the map. So, yeah, even though, who do they have? Currently, as defensive coordinator, they have Dennis Thurman, former Rex Ryan assistant, former Jets defensive coordinator. So, yeah, he's there. But Zimmer could come in, prime time. What's up, prime? And then be a defensive consultant. Absolutely. I think that Zimmer would rather do that as opposed to taking a year off, even though, yeah. Next up, options for Mike Zimmer. Arizona State consultant. Because Marvin Lewis, Herm Edwards running things down there in Arizona State. They got some things going. I actually think that they're doing a pretty good job. So Zimmer comes in and just adds to the stew. Why not? Why not? Next up, the Raiders. Now, I'm not saying head coach. Like maybe DC, depending on where they go with the head coaching position. Does Rich Bisaccia? I'm rich, bitch. Does he hang on to the job? I don't know. Do they go a different direction? But I do think that Zimmer would be prime for some of these DC openings. I think that Zimmer's got too much pride to take a position coach job, although he would be pretty good as a DB coach because he is the cornerback whisperer. Just ask him. So, I mean, it's possible. So, DC, like senior defensive assistant or advisor type role, that would make sense. And then lastly, ESPN NFL Network, where, like we said about the Manicast, have Zimmer and Deion, because Deion, even though he's head coach of a major college football team, he has a lot of time to do media work. So Deion and Zimmer doing a Manning cast style show, just watching the games, roasting people, telling jokes, telling stories, talking ish, and Zimmer dipping the entire time. I would love it. Man. Plus, Mike Zimmer, he's low key funny. He is, and I think that his tell it how it is, no nonsense style. I think that would work. I think that he's a bit of he's like Rex Ryan in that he's brash and says what he wants, but Rex Ryan I think was much more of a player's coach. And Zimmer don't give a F. You don't give an F, man. It would be good. But that's it. Let's take a look at what pretty Rick Spielman and Zimmer's options could be for this upcoming season. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Spielman takes the Bears job and then hires Zimmer. Oh, my God. Nah, it's not going to happen. But let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.